Thank you so much, James. Joining me now to discuss this and more, former senior advisor for the Trump and Bush administrations and senior fellow at the Center for National Interest, Christian Whiton. Christian, what is your reaction here to the hostages being released in this moment?
You know, Joe, I have to step back and just think that Joe Biden has done a fantastic job of making Jihad great again. I mean, we're getting jerked around, we the United States, by Hamas, thanks to Joe Biden. We pressured Israel to make this lousy deal, 50 non-combatant civilians in exchange for 150 hardened Hamas terrorists who are in jail. That's a terrible deal. And now we get no Americans out, and half of the people released were Thai nationals who probably would have been released eventually anyway. It's just a bad deal. And Joe Biden has allowed the focus now to be on how much pressure can we put on Israel to halt combat operations while we get jerked around by Hamas. Don't get me wrong, I am ecstatic that we're getting these hostages out. If I were a family member of one of the hostages, I would want this to happen. I understand that completely. But the way to end this war humanely and prevent more killing of innocents is to let the Israelis deal with Hamas, invade southern Gaza, and end this conflict.
Absolutely. I think that many people would agree with that sentiment, that perhaps the best way to make sure we could end this bloodshed is to say you shall get a ceasefire once you release the hostages, not releasing innocent civilians who were taken hostage in exchange for people who are convicted terrorists. In fact, I want to get your reaction to another comment from President Biden, listening to what he had to say about Hamas's attack, why they did it, and when.
One of the reasons why Hamas struck when they did was they knew that I was working very closely with the Saudis and others in the region to bring peace to the region by having recognition of Israel and Israel's right to exist.
So I'm just confused here. Is he trying to take credit for the Abraham Accords? Is he somehow downplaying the impact that turning over Afghanistan to the Taliban had on perhaps letting Hamas know that they might be able to feel emboldened and get away with this type of reckless, monstrous behavior?
Right. It's very creative by the people in the White House who put scripts in front of Joe Biden to read, but no one's buying this. The reason this is happening now, again, Joe Biden has made jihadism great again. We gave $6 billion to Iran in exchange for 5 prisoners, and that actually is a drop in the bucket to the amount of money that's been made available to the Iranian regime, which funds Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthi in Yemen and all of these other tentacles of the Islamist octopus. Tens of billions of dollars by looking the other way at international oil sanctions on Iran. A lot of it's been sold to China. That's a great gift to China. They get to buy oil at, what, 60, 70 bucks a barrel, and we're paying 10 or 20 more thanks to sanctions and because we're letting Iran get away with this. That money has flown throughout the region to the instruments of Iran, of which Hamas is one. That's why you've seen this uptick of terrorism. And again, go back to 3.5 years ago when we seem to have moved beyond the Palestinian issue. We had the Abraham Accords, and people in the region were focused in backfooting Iran into this terrible situation today.